So there seems to be, I don't know what you'd call it, a bifurcation. I call it a bifurcation between the federal level and the different states. You saw it under the Biden administration where different red states were kind of teaming up together to get things done when they weren't able to work with the federal government. Now that Trump's in power again, though, you're seeing that same thing happen on the other side. Blue governors are banding together, with the most recent one being the
Governors Public Health Alliance.
What is that?
It's beautiful, right? It's governors and they're allied to public health. So basically, every state has their own Department of Health for the most part. Every state has it. And they rely on guidance from the federal government, from HHS, from CDC, for immunizations, for treatment protocols, even when dealing with pandemics like we saw under COVID or with dealing with other public health emergencies. And now a couple of governors, 15 in total, from 14 US states and one territory, being Guam, are coming together, all Democrats, to create a nonpartisan coalition. Mm-hmm. They say nonpartisan, but they're all Democrats. Nonpartisan coalition for public health. And what they'll be allowed to do is use their scientists instead of the scientists at the CDC. They'll be able to use their recommendations, except for the recommendations given by the CDC. And what this is really, Roman, is just a states' rights in action, right? It's a federalism, you could say.
You could.
We have the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis. He went on CNBC on Thursday, I believe, and he kind of outlined what this is, and he had some pushback. We have a clip of when he initially explained it. Let's go to that.
The federal government is withdrawing from the space of providing states and cities and counties and people the kind of scientific-backed advice that many people have always counted on. States do this to a certain extent. We have departments of public health, but there's a lot more capacity, and frankly, it's more efficient to do it together. So what we've got is about a third of the population of the country, I think 34% of the country, states that are represented here. So we're really exploring every avenue, like stockpiling equipment that we might need, researching with and being a liaison with international health entities, doing a lot of the kinds of things where there's a bigger and bigger question mark about the capacity of our federal government to empower people to stay safe and healthy.
And if you look at the map, I mean, these are really the most populous states for Democratic governors. You have New York, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, maybe not Delaware, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Washington, and then the beautiful territory of Guam. And
I'm most surprised that Guam has a Democrat governor. I thought there was like just a big military base and a love of football on that island.
No, even Puerto Rico has a governor. Yeah, these places have governors.
Oh, no, I know they have a governor. I'm just surprised that it's a Democrat. I assumed it would have been a Republican.
Well, it's something new. So some people are calling this a shadow public health alliance. That's been used in a couple headlines, primarily from right-wing sources, going back to Cindy's segment. And others are saying, this is really something great. They're saying, we can't really trust what's coming out from RFK and HHS and Dr. Oz, I guess, and other people involved in the administration, Dr. Robert Malone, and we're going to rely on our own scientists or our own organizations that we support for our guidance instead. So this is basically funded by a nonprofit, an unnamed nonprofit so far. That kind of, I don't know, I guess the tax revenue of certain, they haven't really explained this, how they're going to, for example, use an economy of scale, how all these states are going to come together and maybe buy PPE or something like that.
Oh, so you're saying this is an actual organization?
It's an organization.
I thought this was an alliance.
It was like an alliance, but an alliance is an organization. It's just a name for an organization.
Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, so
but we don't really know where the money is going to come from yet. We did see an example of this earlier this year. There was California. This is Welcome to Primetime, where we read press releases for you. California, Oregon, and Washington State launched the West Coast Health Alliance to uphold, I love this, scientific integrity in public health as Trump destroys CDC's credibility.
Okay, I'll say this.
So this was the precursor. So basically, some states in the West Coast got together and they said, we're going to create an alliance. They literally say there was mass firing of CDC doctors, scientists, People are concerned about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They're concerned about scientific integrity. They're worried about abortion access, access to mifepristone, or access to COVID vaccines. And we're going to get together, we're going to do our own guidance, we're going to sidestep this. And then I feel like a lot of other states must have had FOMO. So they created a more general Governor's Public Health Alliance.
I like it because it offers more choice, right? If they're going to be doing good scientific research, then you can compare their findings and their studies with the CDC, and then you have more choice as to what to believe. I like it.
I wonder about the authority of this long term. I mean, like,
Cindy,
you and I were talking about this offsite. Yeah, but it's like the CDC. When you say, "Oh, CDC report," XYZ data, it's like it holds a certain level of trustworthiness.
Yes.
Typically. So how is this going to compare to that?
If anything, just from the standpoint of this coming into existence, it kind of, by virtue of existence, undermines credibility of the CDC, because it's basically saying that whatever they're saying must be wrong.
Right,
Therefore,
I would agree.
We have
by
to
virtue
take
of
upon,
existing.
we have to take upon the role here of being the CDC in some type of auxiliary function and get together with other leaders and reference other organizations.
Especially if this is almost a direct response to RFK's actions. I mean,
that's what it seems to be, and that's what's cited. So Jared Polis, another part of that CNBC interview, the host kind of pressed him, why do you need to do this? What's going on? What are you worried about? And he delivered an interesting response to that. Let's put that one up first.
The federal government, for instance, put some barriers in the way of accessing the COVID vaccine. We in Colorado acted very quickly to say, you don't need to go to a doctor. You can just go to a pharmacy, a grocery store to do that. To do that, we had to do the legal background work to do that. That's the kind of shared resource for states that do want to, under federal guidelines, make vaccines more available for those who want them. We want to explore the best way for states to do that together, as well as, of course, the states that choose to do that independently.
So if you remember back, I believe it was October 6th, we had new guidance from CDC on COVID vaccines, particularly for young people who got vaccines. And this was from ACIP, which Dr. Malone is now a part of. Now, they basically allowed, it was a big press release at the time because the message there was that your doctor knows you, and they're going to be able to make a determination based on their knowledge of you about whether or not you need the vaccine, being a young child. It's individual-based decision-making to COVID-19 vaccination. That's what they called it. After this happened, Democratic governors were quick to respond. And you saw Kathy Hochul release Executive Order 51 and put into place a few other measures where they would allow, just as Jared Polis mentioned, for the pharmacists to give out these vaccines and kind of sidestep the guidance. Anyone can just go, if you want it, you can get it. That was kind of the rationale behind the move that ACIP did in the beginning, that you could basically go and make the case in front of a trained healthcare professional. But what these people are trying to empower citizens to do is to just get what they want when they need it.
I see.
The whole thing seems to be, the whole idea is to undermine what the federal government is doing. So that'll go by the wayside once, if there's a different party in power, because states already can, it's guidance, right? It's not rules. So states already can do their own thing. We just saw Florida got rid of, all vaccine mandates in schools. So it seems the only real purpose actually is to undermine the credibility.
And to come out with very interesting headlines and quotes, it seems, in these press. I want to go another one. Gavin Newsom, governor of California, as extremists try to weaponize the CDC and spread misinformation, we're stepping up to coordinate across states, protect communities, and ensure decisions are driven by data, facts, and the health of the American people. So they're citing, for example, on COVID vaccines, the American Academy of Family Physicians and American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. That's for something else. And then also pediatrics for their COVID recommendations. Actually, it was the first time for pediatrics in 30 years that they offered different guidance than the CDC did when it involved vaccinations for children. There was the risk that I think you brought up earlier about the seizures within like 15 months of getting a vaccine. Was it RSV or something like that.
Oh, MMR.
MMR.
Yeah.
The febroid seizures or something.
Okay, maybe we're not talking about the same thing, but the chickenpox vaccine was kicked off of the MMR
Yes.
shot because the combined shot with the chickenpox had like a double
Increased rate of getting a seizure,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So they're picking other scientists that disagree with that.
Funding their own science.
They're not
just
funding their own
picking
science.
different
It seems to
studies
be
or
that what
groups
they're
of
doing is
scientists.
they're looking to alternative facts. They're looking for alternative opinions, just like you would go and get a second opinion from your doctor.
Right.
They're getting a second opinion from a different organization.
I like
and they're
it.
saying we're basing this on
So
that.
you can decide where to live based on the guidance you prefer.
I think it shows vibrancy in our system that happens. But on the flip side, I will say it does show cracks and, dare I say, divorce lines being drawn. Because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, let's say you go 50, 60 years from now, there's more, I hope it's not true, but there's more division in the country, more things are starting to kind of break down along, different political lines. And then you think, well, we can't break off from the rest of the country. We need the CDC. And then you think, wait a minute, we have our own CDC. We have our own CDC.
ourselves,
Exactly.
yeah.
It's like there's the local version of the national infrastructure is being built on sort of a regional ground. And I feel like that's almost a precursor for like a national divorce. Not advocating for it. I'm just mentioning that I might see the writing on the wall. Any opinion on that?
That was a follow-up question that somebody in that interview did ask. Is this like a sign of secession? How extreme would that be? And he basically said, no, it's nothing like that. But again, it would empower them to have tools that they previously did not have and these networks that did not exist. And anything like that, I guess you can look at it and say, well, if you want to break away, you need these certain things and we're going to establish them.
And it's like you establish them, but there's also now the precedent. The same thing with the red states. When Texas asked for help to guard their border because they said the Biden administration was abdicating on their duty, a bunch of states actually sent National Guard troops. So that's like another example of that happening on the other side, which sets, that wasn't an organization established, but it sort of set a precedent. And you set enough of these precedents and enough systems break down that, like, I don't know, I know we disagree. I think Chris is a lot more optimistic. I'm more black-pilled on the future of
I just wonder, how serious do you think it is? Is it just, a chance to send out press releases and hold, talk on media about it? Just...
Well, again, I mentioned this is the place where we read the press releases. I mean, there are so many. Like, it's just overwhelming. I'm drowning
Is that from
in
every
paperwork
state
here.
in the 15?
This is only a couple of them that I selected. You should see all the other ones on my hard drive.
Save some trees. You're not going to read all
I
of
don't have
them.
any more space, but they're coming out with a lot of literature here, and they're holding conferences, they're making news appearances, and they're basically doing this, getting ready for midterms.
Okay.
A lot of the key players here, a lot of the most vocal people have issues. You have Kathy Hochul in New York. She's doing a lot in this front. She's being challenged right now by her lieutenant governor. Antonio Delgado, there's a big issue there. She's trying to say, oh, I'm doing something in regards to healthcare. You could look at it like that. Gavin Newsom, a lot of people speculate that he's considering running for the presidency, and he wants to shore up support leading into the midterm elections, and he's providing a lot of support to candidates in troubled districts. So I mean, this is political, of course, because these are political people.
You're right. Cindy is right, rather. I do wonder how much traction this is going to get, because I remember Gavin Newsom was all about the 28th Amendment recently. It was a ban on, I think, assault weapons or something like that. I think it's true. I should be a little bit more clear-eyed looking at these headlines.
But this isn't the first time that Gavin Newsom has tried something like this, for example. So back in last month, far away.
Oh, last month. What month is that even?
I don't know. The days are all blending together reading all these press releases. But there's a big one. Governor Newsom signs new landmark laws to protect reproductive freedom, patient privacy amidst Trump's war on women. The war on women is back.
Yikes.
I thought it died in the Biden era, but we still have it.
They're half the country.
Yes, and a very important part of our country. We wouldn't have it without them. But so he signed
statement.
AB 260. And basically what that does, if you go and for some reason the FDA decides that they're not going to approve mifepristone anymore for abortions, California will give their healthcare providers the option of prescribing it, and they can do so anonymously.
Oh wait, you mean other states?
That ties in because right now we're seeing an example of a doctor in another state, I believe it was like somewhere in Northern California, the physician was based, and there was another individual who wanted an abortion drug, and it was mailed to them.
In Louisiana.
In Louisiana, right? That's the story. And essentially, there's two protections under this one, under AB 260. One is it will protect the healthcare providers from legal action for administering abortive drugs. And then also, it will protect lawyers who are defending them.
So hold on. So now this doctor is basically a fugitive. He can only stay in California. If he leaves the border of California, the arrest warrant from Louisiana will apply to him.
This is states' rights, Roman.
It's the breakup of the nation. It sort of seems like.
The other one is AB 1525, Committee on the Judiciary. It helps shield attorneys assisting other states with access to reproductive care from state bar discipline.
That's fine.
That's the other
It's
part.
like hiding in Albania because you have an arrest warrant in Greece.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. Very, very interesting. Thank you for that federalism update.
There you go.
All right. I know exactly what you're thinking. That was a great clip you just watched. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to follow and also check out either these videos or maybe they're on this side. I don't know which side they're on. But we set it up. So these are the videos that YouTube is suggesting to you as the best ones that you'll probably like the most. So check them out, this side, and until next time.